Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to the next installment of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV Online. Now, previously we had finished the Hall of the Novice, and that is comprised of 7 lessons that allowed us to learn the very basics of group combat as we are approaching our very first dungeon. Um, and that also gave us an update, a needed update to our gear. Whereas it's about everything is level 17. Even one of the rings has been updated um, with the level 5 ring. So, um, up until this point, we have been just a normal adventurer. In our case, is starting off in Gridania, helping out the locals, starting with the Bannock, which is a training area for Gridania, the Wood Whalers. And from there, since we had a knack for getting things completed, we eventually, at the recommendation of the Adventurers Guild, we moved on to what is it called? Bent Branch Meadows. And from there, we helped the local ranch. We broke up a attempted livestock kidnapping where a individual stole an egg, a prized egg from a champion chocobo. Um, and once that was all brought up, one of the guards there noticed that the local beast tribe, the Ixal, were preparing to do a major attack on the Guardian Tree in Gridania. And this is a extremely sacred artifact to both the Gridanians, but also the deities who oversee the forest of the Black Shroud, called the Elementals. And if that tree was damaged or destroyed, that would have angered the Elementals, which meant it would have been bad news for Gridania. So we were promptly sent back to the Adventurers Guild, who promptly forwarded us to the I don't know if it was the military of Gridania or the security forces, but a high person the within the safety and security of Gridania, and we henceforth joined the counterattack to save and prevent save the tree, which we did. What they didn't know was that the man in a black robe who has been plaguing Gridania, um, such as in angering the treants and Life Med Stump, but also when the failed decommissioning of the Spirit Hold prison or dungeon, was a black mask individual that we learned was an Asian. It was his idea to stir up all the chaos and his idea to take out the Gridanian trees. And we defeated the Ixal. He engaged us directly, and thankfully we were able to hold him at bay. Eventually, Papalimo and Yida um, showed up and was able to defeat them. That saving the tree and apprehending the Asian, who has been on the most wanted list of Gridania for such a long time, got the attention of the leadership of Gridania, and since then we have been named Envoy, and which has allowed us to travel by airship to the other 2 cities. So we're in the territory right now of Limsa Lamensa. We have completed the starting quests, and we are now on the main quest after you finish the starting arc from the 3 cities. We are on our way to do our first dungeon, Sastasha, called Sastasha, I think Sastasha Seagrot. Now, this is Aleport, so we just left one of the main gates. We previously got the crystal. This right here is a Hall of the Novice. You don't have to travel to Aleport. There is a smith that has that green sprout symbol above. You can talk to them, but you have to do at least one of the 7 trainings for them to get access to the dungeon. If you come up here before you have done this, you will not see the quest marker above the yellow jacket. Instead, they'll just chase you off. Um, but since we have completed at least one, in our case we've done all 7. But in our case, we have completed them all, and so we are now clear to start the dungeon. We are doing this as a melee DPS class or a lancer. We will be paired up with 3 other individuals: a tank, a healer, and another DPS. Please tell me you're here on Yellow Jacket duty and not some daft sod out for a stroll. I can't take any more of the blasted waiting. You are? Thank the gods. I assume you already know about the ship seen slipping around the Isles of Umbra. We've been on the lookout for pirate activity ever since that vessel was sighted, thinking a crew of cutthroats might have a den nearby. So when we received word that men of questionable quality had been seen passing in and out of Sastasha here, we weren't entirely surprised. I've yet to see them for myself, but if this lot belongs to those fishback fancying serpent reavers, well, you can imagine the panic it'll cause. The kidnappings are still fresh in people's minds. Anyway, your task is to poke around the caves, find out exactly who we're dealing with. While you do that, I'll be keeping watch out here, praying you don't spot any blue face tattoos. And with that, our first dungeon has been unlocked. Pause and read this at your leisure. And that little 8-page thing, that is new. When I did this first time around, they didn't have that. But anyway, there's 2 ways now. There's 2 ways to do it. The normal way is to click on the exclamation mark here, which is the duty button, and then click on Duty Finder. And you want to click on Sastasha so that the box to the left is highlighted, and then click Join. That will place you in a group of 4 other players, and they'll go through the dungeon. Now, there is also the duty support. Now, I don't know if you need to have successfully gotten to Shadowbringers for this to unlock. But this is another option here, and it's the same process here. But instead of a bunch of players, you're with a bunch of NPCs. The difference being, if you are defeated in the dungeon doing these duty supports, you'll have to start at the back. You have to start back at the beginning of that section. The mobs won't respawn, but if you're defeated during a boss fight, he will go back to full health, and you have to redo it. With players, the healer will simply resurrect you. But it is highly encouraged that you go through, that you watch on YouTube. Just watch a non-spoiler video of the dungeon you're about to go through, just so you know the mechanics. Because the other players will be appreciative of it. Let's say you have a basic knowledge of the mechanics, and that's so that can prevent unnecessary ads from coming in, so ease pressure on the tank and the healer. But also it can also help you avoid later on in the game. It can help you avoid um, getting unnecessary damage or being outright killed. Um, and again, it's taking pressure off the healer. Um, you don't have to do it, but generally, players would be appreciative if you did have this a basic knowledge of the mechanics. Anyway, let's get started and let's get going through this dungeon in a duty support. Normally, in a normal with players, this wait time can be longer depending on what class you're in. But since we're the only player here, it's right away. Now, the first time you go through a dungeon, you will get bonus points for you'll get bonus points for clearing. But basically, you want to make sure you have time to clear the entire dungeon. You don't want to leave. You don't want to leave the dungeon midway as you'd be abandoning your group. I would assume that the game has penalties for doing so. What those penalties are, I'm not sure because I've really never done that myself. Right here is limit break. This can unlock powerful attacks or powerful skills that can be used by different classes. Now, as far as I can remember, the melee the melee DPS is the primary person to use it, and then it goes to the casters. The range DPS and the tank are lower because the tank just does protection. But there are dungeons in the game where you need to save your limit break for an instance where the tank needs to time it correctly in order to avoid an attack. Otherwise, it'd be an instant wipe. But this is just a beginning dungeon, so we don't need to worry about that. So we're the only player, so we're the one who's going to be getting all the attention. But notice how the tank immediately got the attention of all of them. So as you get into battles, the limit break bar will begin to fill. Eventually, when it is full, it will turn a yellow or golden color. But let's continue down the path. Okay, this should be... This is a clue down here. Now, this low of a dungeon, most people will not have their AoEs, so this is where making sure you're attacking the same enemy as everybody else comes into play. Otherwise, it will really drag out a fight. And this is also where you may have a little bit of rotation, because we have a buff here from Power Surge that is cast by Disembowel. So we want to make sure that that is up for us. So those giant clams, they will spew out ads. You want to make sure you focus the clam down when you can. Now, normally when you're playing with a group of players, the tank lead sets the pace. Since this is a group of AIs, we're free to do so. But it's not uncommon for the tank to go and pull from a number of different groups and then for everybody to focus them down. It's basically depending on what the tank can handle and what the healer can keep up with. It's also not uncommon to find creatures in these dungeons that are on your hunt log. Also, be on the lookout for treasure coffers here. When you're in a dungeon with a group of people, you'll have to split the treasure up with everybody else. But in this particular case, well, since we're the only player, we'll be the ones getting them. So this can be a boss fight, but this can be a little bit easier if we remember the clue. And as the captain likes his cabbage green, so if we were to touch the red coral, blue, bad things would happen, but we want to touch the green one. Right click on it, interact. You hear something move in the distance. And lo and behold, there is a switch for a hidden passage. Now as you level up, some of your skills may require positioning. So if you need to attack from the flanks, it's from these little arrows here. The back is from the back. when you do get treasure, good to check this to see if they are something that would be beneficial to wear. But in this case, no. That's one of the only downsides of doing it with a bunch of NPCs. You might have to position yourself weirdly to be able to interact with stuff. So when you're going through here with a group of people, usually it's getting through here in the quickest means possible, being efficient, pulling big groups. So if there are other optional content, you might need to ask specifically if something can be done. Alright, we need a key here. So we can't go to that door just yet. But we did miss that someone dropped the captain's keys, so we need to attack these lots. Alright. And looks like we're up against this guy. And now he drops the key to the other gate. Now, in a city full of pirates, why would these pirates be considered rogue? Well, it's because they're basically aligned with the local beast tribe, and so they're robbing Lemsa itself. And again, take the ads out first and then attack the boss. And do watch out for the ads. Okay, nope, no chests. Normally when you're with a group of people, you want to be able to explore like this, because they will know because the tank will usually know the way, or somebody will. So that was more of a like a general pull that someone would do, and notice how the healer wasn't able to keep up. The tank was able to keep up, uh, but you want to be careful of that. You don't have to keep the tank at 100% all the time. You just want to make sure that you're able to keep up with the damage. That's the biggest thing. Okay, so here we go to our first end boss fight. You sully our spawn grounds. And those are the quote-unquote fishbacks that these pirates have grouped up with. Now, you want to keep an eye on these named trapdoors here, because there will be a mechanic for these. So when you see the ripples here, you want to stand on them, because otherwise an ad will come up from here. Now the NPCs won't necessarily do it. So mechanics can be important. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have the cooperation of our NPCs, but so if you ignore it or your damage isn't high enough to just power through it, you see how you can get overwhelmed by that. So on some instances, it may be better to play with a group of PCs, players, rather than a group of NPCs, but we managed to get it through here. So that is Sastasha. Let me know if you want to see me do this as a tank and a healer. But grab your... and check for gear. And we got a new spear. And then go walk up to the exit here, right click to exit. So now we have to go speak with Balderon at the Drowning Wench to give our results. You can teleport there, or we can take the ferry back to Limsa. Just simply sprint through the gate here, go down to the lowest point of the dock, and that will lead us to the ferry. So, yeah, we've gone down the straight from the gate here. And let's talk to the ferry skipper. And we want Limsa Lumensa. Now, not all dungeons will have the ability to do it through the dungeon support system. So, there are dungeons where you will need to play with other player characters. So to get back to the Drowning Wench, go to the Aetheryte crystal here, Aetheryte shard, and choose the aft castle. And from the aft castle, want to go west for a little bit to the cross thing here, and then head north, which will take you into the Drowning Wench. And then here we have Balderon. Aye, such a task was on the books. Was, mind. I'm afraid that ship has already sailed, friend. Ah, might you be the adventurer who accepted the job of investigating Sastasha? It would seem that ship has not only sailed, but now returns to harbor none the worse for its voyage. A pity. We dragged our boots not long on this one. No matter. The wheel will turn and our chance will come. You are right, of course. But there shall be no rest till we attain our goal, lofty though it may be. Not a wink of sleep, great leader. Our aim, lest you wonder, is to perform such feats of heroism as will earn us a place in the songs of every household alehouse in Eorzea. I mean to write a legend which will inspire adventurers as yet unborn to follow our shining example. Do you have such a goal, large or small? It matters not. Only have a star to reach for, and you will reach higher. Purpose can sustain you through the times of hardship. Keep your eye on the prize, and all obstacles will be overcome in time. You would not think to stride into battle unclad, would you? Well, goals are as arms and armor for the spirit. I wish you fortune in your endeavors, milady. Back then, are ye? With all your limbs and tail to tell, a wager? And we tell Balderon what happened. Fishbacks. And there I was thinking you only have to crack a pirate skull or three. Seven Hells. You turned your back for 5 bloody minutes and the scaly bastards set up shop in your bleeding doorstep. Still, sounds like you left them in pieces, so don't suppose they'll be carrying out whatever mischief they was planning. Unless they was planning on feeding themselves to the fauna of Sastasha, of course. And he wrote, all's well that ends well. On behalf of Limsa, I thank ye for shedding some light on this mystery. You've lived up to your reputation, and I couldn't ask for no more than that. Now, I'll bet you're dying for a rest, but just in case you're not, I was wondering if you might be interested in taking another job. It just so happened I've had a request from our sister guild in Gridania, see? Seems the forest folk in need of a venturer who can get things done. For them to ask for help like this, you can bet the task won't be no skip through a sunny glade. But after the way ye dealt with our fishback infestation, I doubt it's anything ye can't handle. Give us a shot when you're ready, and I'll lay it out for ye. So now we can find parties to go through different things. So you're the Lightbringer I've been hearing so much about. 'Tis a pleasure indeed to finally meet ye in the flesh. Name's Balderon, and this most hospitable and oysterless is the Drowning Wench. There's a place where adventurers like yourself gather to rest up, listen to the latest gossip, and take on any tasks that need doing. And in this day and age, there ain't no shortage of tasks that need doing. I hope you're good and ready to pension, lass. Okay. And it's not uncommon to find people working on their crafting in here too. Call of the Forest. Ready to hear about that job then? Like I said, the request comes from our sister guild in Gridania. And that's all I know, but whatever it is you get asked to do, some old doubt it pose any trouble for a venturer as survived the bedlam in Sastasha. If you think you might be interested, you'll want to have words with Mother Minoon, your counterpart in Gridania. Good luck, lass. Okay, so with that, we're going to call it for now. But in the next video, we will be going to Gridania and doing the next dungeon. We'll be doing a spree of 3. But until then, thanks for watching, and take care, guys. See ya.